Forget about everything you learned. Don't care about anything that anyone says. Find who you are, stay true to it. If someone wants to talk bad about you, leave the room. They're not for you.
Hey there, welcome back to Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation. I'm your host, Jan Simon, and this season we're raising the bar, diving into the passion, purpose, and defining moments of leaders who don't just aim high, they live there. Big ideas, real stories. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation. This is the show where we sit down with trailblazing entrepreneurs, community leaders, and visionaries to uncover the mindset and strategies that push them and their businesses to new heights. Today's guest is someone who embodies the spirit of excellence. Korey Bahme, the founder of Bahme Law in Arizona, an Arizona-based law firm dedicated to serving entrepreneurs, investors, and small business owners. Korey brings a refreshingly no-nonsense approach to business law, focusing on preventative legal care, creative deal structuring, and one of my favorite parts, client education. In just a short time, Bahme Law has built a reputation of being accessible, aggressive when the situation calls for it, and deeply committed to helping clients succeed outside of the courtroom and the boardroom. Korey can often be found out in the community, educating business owners, speaking on panels, and advocating for small, sustainable business growth. Korey, is an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So, Korey, did you grow up in Arizona?
I did. Florence, Arizona.
Oh, the huge metropolis of Florence.
Yes, the prison town.
Say, my daughter just got married in Florence.
The winery.
Yes.
The barn.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful facility there. So you grew up in Florence. What brought your family to Florence?
Oh, goodness. My family is actually from like Bullhead area.
Okay.
And so I think it was the prison that brought my grandparents to
Okay.
Florence. My grandpa got a job there.
So he wasn't incarcerated there.
No,
Okay.
no.
That's not what led you into law?
No, yeah. He was the one in there, or being the correction officer in there, I should say. I don't really know. I think
Okay.
it was just sort of the job opportunity, the benefits of a government job. I know that my dad went to high school there, and then whenever he graduated, he moved to Washington.
Oh, wow.
Well, I think between Idaho, Washington, he kind of went back and forth.
Okay.
My sister and I, my older sister and I, were both born in Redmond, Washington.
Oh, okay.
After I was born, my grandpa called my dad and was like, you need to get your life together. Come down here.
Oh, wow.
And so he moved down for the benefits, things like that.
Okay. Okay. So then he went to work for corrections as well?
Correct.
Okay. Very cool. I lived in Redmond for a very short period of time.
Did you?
Yes.
Never even seen it. I mean, I guess my eyeballs did for like a
You
year.
just don't remember it. Yeah. So then you grew up, born and raised. No, you were born in Redmond or in Washington, but then you raised in Kingman, Arizona.
Florence, Arizona.
Did I say Kingman?
Yeah.
Florence, Arizona. It's a small town.
Same thing. It is.
Florence.
They also have a prison.
Yes, they do. What do you do for fun in a place like Florence, Arizona, aside from go to, what's the cowboy bar there?
The River Bottom.
There's an Irish bar.
Oh, the Irish Cowboy?
Yeah, the Irish Cowboy.
That's new.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Wasn't there when you were there?
No. I mean, I've been there since.
Okay.
It's a nice bar. Cheaper drinks than Phoenix.
Okay. Then Waylon Jennings is from Florence, isn't he? Was it Waylon Jennings? Isn't that the claim to fame of that bar what's the name of that bar? That's going to drive me crazy.
I have no idea.
Okay. I don't know what it's called now. All right. So what do you do for fun in Florence?
I mean, growing up, we didn't have much. I didn't have a cell phone. So it was going to the park, hanging out with friends, going to the desert.
Nice.
It's not really anything to do. I mean, we don't really even have a grocery store. So
That's crazy.
yeah, growing up, I'd go to the Family Dollar for everything.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. I think it's growing now though.
They're forcing the growth.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a neighborhood right behind my dad's house that they're building. They've been developing it for a couple years now.
Mm-hmm.
Massive. But the problem is there's no jobs.
Yeah.
Governor Ducey shut down the state prison there a couple years ago. And so there's not really any job growth. There's no businesses moving out there, no corporations, nothing. And there's only 3 ways to get in and out.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild.
That's
the traffic
crazy.
there sucks too.
That's
so.
crazy. Growing up, did you play sports?
I did.
Okay.
I
What would
played
you
a
do?
lot of sports.
Okay.
So when I was, I think 7, I was in soccer. So just played the recreational soccer with the town, that sort of thing. In high school, I did softball, or middle school, I should say, I did softball and volleyball. And then high school, I did track, cross country, cheer, soccer, and that was it.
Very cool. So it's kind of one of those small towns that if you wanted to be a participant, you could be a participant.
Oh, and everything. Yeah. Even my first 2 years, though, cheer and cross country ran during the same time periods, and they let me participate in both.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
I was involved in my school, and then I had the clubs I was involved in, and then I would go to the morning practice for cross country and then the afternoon practice for cheer.
Oh, wow.
So I guess that's what I did for fun. I kept myself busy.
I remember watching the cross country runners in high school and always wondered what motivates you to go out there and run miles. I mean, miles. And why?
What's funny is growing up, I don't know why. I just started running and I liked it. I think I liked the fact that my brain's finally sort of shut off. I'd be running and I'd get home and I'd have a paper due or essay due and I'd write the whole thing. And while I'm running, I'm not thinking about it, but my brain is processing the entire paper, all these things I need to do. And then when I have the time to sit down, it just comes out.
Oh, wow.
What's funny about it is I'm pretty confident I'm more like a faster runner now today than I was then. Not only that, but I run a lot more than I did.
Oh, wow.
I actually just decided next year I'm going to do the 100-mile run in London.
Oh, my God. I would say good luck. Why? What? I mean, have you ever done like the Boston Marathon or anything like that?
So I did the Sedona Marathon.
Okay.
I've done that. I've done the Imogene runs from Ouray to Telluride in Colorado.
Okay.
Actually, next month, I'm doing the Spartan race, but I'm doing trifecta weekend. So it's 22 miles, 75 obstacles in Hawaii. The thing I think last year too, I did my first triathlon. Never doing that again. I thought I was going to die swimming. My dad actually came to make sure I didn't drowned. That was the number one reason my dad came and watched it.
No kidding.
I also did a half marathon last year, but I try to do something that's different and that, motivates me. And honestly, ever since I've been training for the Spartan race, my mind has been a lot clearer. And what I realized is I have to have something going for me. And it's more than just basic working out. I need that training session.
Yeah. It's crazy. I am not a runner by any stretch of the imagination. Hate running. And I think it's because I get so bored doing it. Like it's not fast enough for me. Like I can get on a bike and ride forever. It doesn't matter.
So your imagination sucks.
Pretty much. No, pretty much. I think, I don't know. Maybe I need more stories in my life, but it's so funny because even in wrestling, when I was in wrestling, we had to run around town and be like morning practice. We had always were 2-day practices. Some people talk about, it's 2-day week or whatever. It's like, no, we were 2-a-days like all year, but we would run, I think it was like 3 to 5 miles every morning. And then, and it was around town. So it was up the hill and down and around and whatever. And then when I was fighting forest fires, I had to run every morning and I did it. It's 5 miles and whatever, but man, for me, it's grueling. And I look at people who are like 25, 30, 50, 100 miles, like, dang, even at a slow pace, 12-minute mile, 100 miles is going to take you like a week to run.
What's funny is they have a cutoff. So you have to finish it in 30 hours and I have to qualify. I didn't realize I had to qualify. So I'm going to do the 50-mile in someplace in California next year.
Wow.
And that one I have to complete in 15 hours. If I don't complete it in 15 hours, then I don't get to run in London.
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to do that math in my head. 15 hours to run 50 miles. That's what, like an 8-minute mile, 7-minute mile? Is that right?
Probably 8 or 9. I'm terrible at math.
15, 10 would be 5. Add half of that, so 7.5-minute miles. That's brutal. I think I'd throw up a couple times.
It'll be fun. No, there's people that are like 70 years old doing it.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even when I did the Imogene in Colorado, I had 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds passing me, and I was like, holy cow. But what I learned, too, is as I've gotten older, I've gotten more fast. On top of that, I think your brain just kind of shuts off and you just go.
Yeah.
I think whenever you're younger, you're always processing or you're thinking about running too much. Whereas I think when you grow older and you're just doing it just to do it, and you let go of everything else, you just flow a lot better.
Do you listen to podcasts or anything or like music? Or, okay. Do you have like a play track or you just put in, Taylor Swift on iHeartCountry or whatever.
My liked songs on Spotify.
Okay.
So anything I liked and that's on
It just
it.
plays
Mhm.
and repeat.
Well, usually my races finish before it repeats,
okay. So you have
but
a lot of
I'm not that. So yeah, I have
I'd be
enough
like,
songs.
well, I guess if you like enough songs, I'd be like 5 songs repeat over and over again. I mean, I'd have to do like Eye of the Tiger every third song to
get them
me
motivated.
pumped up again. To be like, what am I doing out here?
I love it. I think that's another thing with the music. Whenever you know the song, you just sort of sing along to it.
Yeah. What's interesting is, like, for me, like, I don't like just running, flat surface running.
Mhm.
But if I get on a
Same.
trail running, there's something weird, like, and maybe it's because it's keeping my mind active and I can just do it. So I've gone and run usury pass and some of that stuff, and it doesn't bother me.
So none of the races I've done are been on the road. They've all been trail running.
Oh, wow.
That's why I wouldn't do the Boston Marathon, San Diego, anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't like them either.
Hmm.
I like the anticipation, the looking at the views,
Yeah.
the ups and downs. I don't like to just straight run and then my calves are hurting because I'm on
Yeah.
the road.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'd rather possibly tweak my ankle on a rock.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to compound fracture my ankle.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't do that now that I said that.
Well, yeah, it's not going.
Yeah. So got through high school, went to college.
I did. Undergrad, NAU.
Okay. What drove you to NAU? Just,
Cheap.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Mhm. It was the cheapest college that I could apply to.
Okay.
I knew I was going to go to law school after, so I knew that would be the most debt I'd go into.
Yeah.
Growing up, we didn't have money, things like that. My dad couldn't help out, and so I knew I'd have to go into debt. I'd have to get a job, all of those things.
Mhm.
When I actually first started, they take you on like a tour, right, of the campus. And at one point, they take your parents to a different section to talk about the financial package.
Mm.
And my grandparents were with us, and my dad just started crying. And he's just like, I can't afford that. Like, they're telling me I have to pay this much. Like, I have a mortgage. Like, they're not taking my expenses. And he was just distraught. My grandpa, actually, his father had just passed away that year. And so my grandpa said, we'll give you, it was $7,000 for the year tuition.
Mhm.
He's like, we'll give you the $7,000 to start, but that's all we can
Right,
do. After
yeah.
that, you got to figure it out.
Mm.
And so during my first semester there, I got a job at the physics and astronomy department.
Oh,
I
wow.
love them there. They gave me the opportunity, they gave me raises as much as they could. I was on the work study package. So the government was essentially
Yeah.
subsidizing and helping to pay for it. And then towards the end of the first semester, we're like, what do we do? Because the 7,000 is like, that would have been the tuition, but you
Right.
have room and
Now you got
board,
room
you have all
and
these
board of that, yeah.
expenses. And I remember talking to a friend and she said she got the lumberjack scholarship. And I was just like, and it's an academics, so it's based off of your grades in high school. And I asked her and I was just like, what was your GPA? And she said like a 3.5 or 3.6 something. And I was like, I graduated with a 4.2. I was livid. I was like, why didn't I get that? And then
Yeah.
we're just like, oh, luck of the draw of our family, right? We're just not lucky. So I went down to the academic office. My older sister did not go to college, but for some reason, when she was in school, they forced everyone to apply to all the in-state colleges.
Mm.
Her name is Courtney.
Oh.
Her name is spelled the same way.
Oh, wow.
Growing up, my dad, I think lost our social security numbers or something, so we had to get new ones. So our numbers are very similar.
Okay.
So everything about it is close, besides our 2-year difference. And her birthday is in November, mine's December, so also
Okay.
pretty close. There was a mix-up. And so they got a hold of her transcripts thinking it was mine. And what's funny is when I got my acceptance letter from NAU, it said, congratulations, Courtney.
Oh,
And
no.
I was kind of upset, but I was like, oh, they're just stupid, right? And no, it was just, they truly
So-
thought we were one and the same person.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
so they were like, we're so sorry. So they actually reimbursed me from the first semester. They made it right. And they paid my tuition. I did graduate in 3 years instead of 4. So
Oh, wow.
I paid the last 2 years.
Wow. Did you do anything out? And I that sounds belittling. I don't mean it that way. Did you do anything outside of like the academic stuff? I mean, you said you worked in the
Physics and
physics
astronomy
and-
department.
Yeah. Did you do any running there at college or?
Yep. Yeah, I ran. That's when I did the Sedona Marathon was when I was
Okay.
there, as well as the Imogene run.
Okay.
I also did the Solstice race in Flagstaff. They have a
Okay.
local one that raises money for nonprofits.
Mm.
And that one's about 11 miles. So
Okay.
I was running there active in that community. I was also a part of a National Honor Society there and hung out with friends, things like I had a lot of time.
Okay.
Looking back, I don't know how I did it all,
Yeah.
especially because by the time I graduated, I was working anywhere between 30 to 40 hours a week.
Wow.
And taking, again, since I graduated a year early, I was taking about 18 to 20 credits a semester.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
Coming from somebody who took 7 years to get through school. I mean, I set the bar very low for my kids, but that's impressive.
We all have our timelines.
Yeah. It's like my expectations are here. At what, well, okay, so I'm going to rewind for a second, and we can edit this out if you don't want to talk about it, but you've mentioned your dad a few times. You haven't mentioned your mom.
Yeah.
Is she not in the picture? Do you mind talking about that?
I don't want to talk.
Okay.
So a thing about me is my dad always taught me to be an open book.
Okay.
Be who you are, be true to who you are, and it's all a part of your story and how you got to be where you are, which is, again, part of this podcast,
Yeah,
right?
right.
How did you get to the position you're in
Yep.
today? So yeah, growing up, my dad and mom had a terrible custody battle. My dad, they just hated each other.
Oh, wow.
It got so bad, a lot of nasty things back and forth. I think when I was about 5 years old, my dad got sole custody of my older sister and I, and then he got restraining orders out. And my mom didn't do anything like physically harmful, things like that, but she did enough that it was granted. And so my dad's like, you're never seeing your mom. We have a younger half sister. She's 5 years younger. And her dad, and we call her mom, her stepmom, raised her, but our mom was still in her life. And so growing up, we couldn't see her either.
Oh, wow.
As my dad was like, no, I don't want your mom to show up. That's how much he
Yeah.
like just
Oh my
hated
gosh.
her. And so it's even more funny because my dad had remarried when I was young and she had a daughter. And so the whole family was brown hair, brown eyes, and I was blonde hair, blue eyes. So I didn't match the family. My
Yeah.
mom has blonde hair, blue eyes.
Okay.
And so growing up, I had this, kind of hate-filled energy coming from my dad about my mom. But I was like, well, I want to see my mom because my dad will be the first to say, like, my childhood was, like, terrible. He wasn't the best father growing up. He is now we're best friends. But it was tough. And so my outlet was always like, oh, well, if mom was here, it'd be different, right? So as I got older, my hair started darkening, so I would dye it blonde. Everyone points out my nails being super long, and I don't know why. I don't even know if this is true, but in my head, I think my mom had a conversation with me when I was young saying, don't bite your nails and things like that. So I never bit my nails. And I had little things like that. And then when I was in middle school, I kind of got in touch with my mom because small town, right? My cousins went to school with us on my mom's side. And one day they're like,
She in Florence as well?
I don't know where my mom was. Well, she's more like Coolidge,
Okay.
Eloy, like
She's
just
down in that
surrounding.
area. Okay. I was
Yeah.
thinking she was up in Washington.
No, her and my dad both moved back. She's from Florence. That's where they met. So they both went to high school together.
Okay.
And so, yeah, one day my cousins were like, hey, your mom wants to talk to you. And so at the time, how those like emails, they have those chain emails. So one time she sent it to me and I sent it to my sister who sent it to my stepmom who saw my mom's name. My dad was not active growing up, so he didn't go to my parent-teacher conferences, like school events, like nothing. Oh, he made sure I went into high school and had no internet access.
Oh, no.
It was so funny. He walked down there and he goes, she can't touch a keyboard. She can't go by computer. She can't have up. And and the school abided by it, which is also really funny because Florence, they didn't really care about things, but my dad just had that way about him that like you just didn't get on his bad side, right?
Yeah.
And so that happened. I think we were only emailing for a couple of months, so it wasn't long. And then in high school, a couple of years later, my older sister, she also grew up hating her mom, but she got in touch with her. So I was like, it can't be that bad, right? Like, she's doing it. I can do it. So we actually both went to Eloy one time to see my mom, and she was dating, or she was engaged, I don't really know, to this guy. And they owned a truck stop and like for semi trucks. And it was like the small house sort of thing. And then one day I get home from school or from sports, whatever. And my dad is livid. And he comes at me and he's screaming. He goes, have you been in contact with your mom? Immediately, yes. Yes. But I didn't go see her. Sister saw her.
Oh, no.
So I half told the truth. And I just but I knew to tell my dad, yes, absolutely. And so again, lost contact, that sort of thing. After that, whenever I graduated high school, it was actually, I got a cake. And so I'm getting in my house, my friends are with me, and my dad just starts cussing. And he's like, there's a cake that was left for you. I know who it's from. Like, you better take and get out of my house, all this stuff. And it was like, congratulations, Korey, it's a cake from like Safeway, Walmart.
Yeah.
And I was like, how cool. And I was like, obviously it was from my mom.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I'm 18. Why hasn't she said anything? And then I'm an undergrad and still no contact. And so one day I'm just so fed up and I reach out on Facebook and I'm like, why haven't you said anything? Like, I'm 18 now. Why don't you want contact?
Mm-hmm.
I get a response. Oh, didn't your mom tell you she's in prison?
Oh my God.
Her friend had access to it.
Oh.
And that's how and then whenever I graduated undergrad and going to law school, that's when she got released, like a couple weeks after I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, we don't really have contact. It's just, my dad always called it the poor me syndrome. So it's blame everyone but yourself.
Yeah.
And she still sort of has that. And she expects us to just be there because we're her daughters. And it's like, no, like you have to put in some effort. You have to try, build a relationship. At this point, you can't really be my mom. Like, I don't really know how this works either, but like dad and I only worked it out because now we're friends. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's just, there's too much energy and effort that I have to put out there. And so, yeah, mom's not really in the life.
Yeah. Well, I needed to ask because I was curious. So thank you for sharing, because, you know, it's interesting. And I think, I mean, to your dad's credit, that is something obviously that shapes us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what does that look like? How did we go through, or the things that we had to deal with? And, you know, how do you feel like, or do you feel like that plays a role in what you do today? I mean, do you, as you're going through things, or do you find yourself looking for approval from other people?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say it's weird because I don't know I'm doing it. Like, I just do things, right? And often though, I'll be talking to people and they're like, you don't give yourself enough credit for all that you do. And it's more so I don't realize it. And so I am often trying to seek approval, because even my dad growing up, like I said, he wasn't really there for me. One day, for example, I think it was, I qualified for cross country for state or something. And so I'm in my like uniform and I walk into the bar. At that point, it was Gibby's or Cocapelli's actually at the time. And so I walk in, I sit down at the bar next to my dad. They hand me my Shirley Temple and they're like, oh, it looks like you just got done with a race. And I was like, yeah, I did. Just qualified for state. And my dad just looks at me and he just kind of shakes his head. And they're like, you didn't go? And everyone just starts hounding my dad. And my dad's just like, why would I go? Mm-hmm. She runs it for herself. She does it for herself. If I go, there's going to be pressure, and then she's going to be doing it for me, not her, and it's not going to be fun anymore. And he just went off.
Wow.
And I kind of looked at him and I was like, I never asked him. I never thought to ask him. But one thing that I like really have respect about my dad is he's always honest. Mm-hmm. So if you ask him something, he's going to tell you, and he always has an answer. And it may not be the right answer, but when you think about it, all you can do is be like, that makes sense. Like in TV shows, they do have that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how I would feel if he was there, you know, hammering and cheering me on, because I've never had that, but maybe I would have felt pressure and then I wouldn't enjoy it, you know? Yeah. Like I was always like, he has a point to that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think today I do a lot. And I think that's why I'm so high achieving, because I don't feel, but I think subconsciously at some conscious level, I just striving to do more, something better, because I don't think I've done enough. Yeah. And so I think I'm just constantly doing that and trying to like fill some void or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think being a middle child, I am always seeking attention. But no, I think that I could totally see, you know, being in that situation. It's interesting because those are things, you know, outside of my sheltered little life that I've seen in movies, you know, right? Where you've got the parents who are completely disengaged, you know, a relationship that doesn't work, you know, constant fighting, you know, whatever. You're in the custody of one parent who obviously he fought very hard to get you, but then it's like once he had you, it was like, didn't do the rest of it, right? And no knock against your dad, but just, you know, perception wise. So interesting. Yeah. And I just wonder how that would be, because I could see being in a position where, you know, as you've grown and being a high achiever and also throwing in running 100 miles. I mean, where does that motivation come from? Right. And if not conscious, then obviously something from a psychological level is working inside there to really motivate you to go, I can do that. Or I would assume you're probably a little bit the type of person, maybe I shouldn't assume, I should just ask, are you the type of person that if I told you, oh, Korey, you can't do that?
Oh, yes, I can. Oh, yeah.
He's like, hold my beer.
100. Yeah.
So it's funny that, it's crazy because I think I relate. I have been around a person for a while that I think is probably very similar to that. So graduated from high school, went to NAU. At what point in high school at NAU did you think, because it sounds like pretty early on you decided, hey, I'm going to be an attorney. What led you down that path? I mean, how'd you get there?
When I was about 10, I said I'm going to be an attorney.
Really?
Yeah. So,
I mean, you're watching like Matlock or something on TV?
no. So I think I never watched a movie. I never watched a TV show. He used to be an estranged uncle. Now he's not. But growing up, he wasn't really in our life. He's the only one besides me that went to college, and he went to be a pastor.
Oh, okay.
And so one day I just said it, I just said, I'm going to be a lawyer. And I thought about that the other day. I still have it to this day. It's this massive orange t-shirt that still doesn't fit me, but it says, when I grow up, I want to be something or other. And my grandpa bought it for me. We don't really do gifts, but my grandpa saw it and was like, that's a shirt for Korey.
That's cute.
And I think growing up, I was like, I want to be a fashion designer. I want to be a model. And I think, honestly, everyone was just kind of like, okay, like whatever. And I think whenever I said lawyer and going back to, you can't do that. So in high school, I kind of mentioned it and people were like, Korey, you're smart, but you're not that smart.
Oh.
And I was like,
hold my beer.
And then in undergrad, towards my last year, I was like, I've never met a lawyer. I've never met anyone. I've never said anything. And all throughout undergrad, my family didn't talk to me about what I was going to do after or anything.
Yeah.
But I had a teacher who was an attorney, and she was joining the Arizona Justice Project when NAU had it.
Okay.
And she said, hey, come join.
What's the Arizona Justice Project?
Yeah. Have you heard of the Innocence Network?
Oh, yeah.
So NAU, that was actually the last year and semester that NAU had it.
Oh, okay.
They made a bunch of budget cuts. They said, we don't care about innocent people. Just kidding. They're like, we're not a law school. There's no need for us to have it.
Yep.
But so I went to join it, and immediately I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, it was all about helping people, uncovering whether it's the truth or not, uncovering facts that's going to help the next generation or help the person in society and things like that. And I think growing up too, I always just left and right, no matter where you looked in Florence, someone was being treated poorly. We were not raised the best. A lot of my friends have great parents, but they also had their faults, right?
Yeah.
And in the school, they just pushed out people that were going to get jobs. They didn't care what you did so long as you weren't committing a crime.
Yeah.
That was all they cared about. And so I think that's what really took to me, was just helping individuals like that. And I think also part of me thought if I didn't go to school or I didn't have the drive I did or do, I would probably be a criminal. Like, I would probably be a drug addict, right? Like, looking at my family history and the trajectory of everyone else, like, that's probably where I would have ended up. And it sucks because it's, for me, it was a mindset and a different change in the environment, but not everyone had that same motivation, right?
Yeah.
And my dad always says, he's like, where'd you get that from? I'm like, and so I think it was just more so that. And then so the Arizona Justice Project solidified it for me that I was going to be a lawyer. And I remember too, I was applying to law school, I was taking the LSAT, and my grandma calls me and she's just like, so what are you going to do next? I was like, I'm going to law school. And she goes, you're really going? Like, are you sure? You haven't changed your mind? And I was like, no, I'm already applying. Like, what are you talking about? Change my mind? Like, what else would I do? And she goes, well, that's what I was going to ask you. And so I think that's the thing too, is my family, they didn't not believe in me, but they also didn't push me, like they'd let us kind of be who we were going to be. And if we changed our mind, they gave us the outlet to be comfortable with changing our mind.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So then you went to ASU?
So I went to California Western School of Law first for my first year of law school.
Okay.
They gave me a scholarship. I didn't think I'd get into ASU. I had the grades, graduated at 3.925 GPA, have 2 bachelor's degrees. I had the Arizona Justice Project. I had fantastic recommendation letters from my professors. I didn't have the LSAT score. So when I was practicing and studying for the LSAT, my little sister got cancer. And so she was in the hospital for about 5 months, 4 rounds of chemo. And I was driving down almost every other weekend so her parents could go home and take care of the errands, things that they needed to do. And so I could spend time with her. And so I did not study. And I'm terrible at those standardized exams. And so I was just like, I just need a score. I need a score. I need to get to school, and whatever school I end up at, I know I can prove myself and then I can transfer.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. Went to California Western, got the grades, applied to ASU. ASU accepted me. So I moved back for my second and third year.
Gotcha. Couple questions. Sorry. I'm just like stumbling over one. Your undergrads, what are your degrees, undergrad degrees?
Bachelor of Criminology and Criminal Justice.
Okay.
That's a dual one. And then Bachelor of Science in Sociology.
Okay.
So again, all people oriented.
Yeah, yeah. So then you went off to college, to attorney school, law school. Is it true, like, when you watch Scrubs is stuck in my head?
Suits?
Well, Suits, yes. Scrubs was stuck in my head. I'm like, that's not what the attorneys wear. So their whole big thing is, you know, which school you go to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prestigious school. Is it really that big of a deal?
If you want to go into big law, yes.
Okay.
I knew for a fact I was never going to big law. Again, you can't really tell me what to wear and things like that. I remember my first day of law school. In my professional responsibility class, they said, as a female attorney, you're still expected to like wear skirts. Mm-hmm. Every single job after that, I'm in a pantsuit. You won't catch me in a skirt or a dress going to like an interview. And I've gone every single job interview that I've had. Yeah. And so big law is one thing. You have to, you know, abide by their structure. You have to work 80, 90 hours a week. You don't really get paid. You do the groundwork. You have to work your way up. And even then, you probably aren't going to get, you know, any accolades or anything like that, a pat on the back. If anything, you just get more stress and things of that nature. And so I also knew, like, again, I wanted to be a public defender. They don't care what school you went to, so long as you're, I mean, a good attorney, a good person, you know, have the heart and the drive to want to help people. And so I never had the stress of where I went to law school. That was never in the back of my mind.
Gotcha.
I was always like, I want to be a public defender and I know what's going to get me there. And so I didn't have that. But if you do want to go into big law, that does matter. Or if you want to like clerk with a judge, that matters. Who you know matters in those situations. But I often tell people, like, don't stress about it. Unless you want to do one of those things, get through law school, take the bar exam, and then go figure it out. There are so many jobs and opportunities out there that's available. And that's the one thing I wish was talked about in law school more, is you don't have to work for a law firm at all. Yeah. You can work for a company. You can work for yourself. There's opportunities and other things out there. And so that's something that's not taught. They are still very structured. Oh, you're going to go into big law and you have to do that, or you're not going to amount to anything. And it's not true. I know people that went to Harvard, and I can tell you I'm probably a better attorney than some of them. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think that probably holds true for most, right? It doesn't, it's interesting though, because like with ASU, I remember having conversations and talking to the kids about like kind of where you go matters sometimes, because as much as we've started to move away from the requirement of having a 4-year degree to apply for a job someplace, which when I was younger, that was the requirement, right? You still see it, but I think it's becoming a little bit less and less. But it's not so much what your degree's in, it's where you went, right? It's like, do you have a commonality someplace with somebody, and they make it a big deal of stuff. So so you wanted to be a public defender. Did you ever practice law as a public defender? My first 2 years. Okay. So not only that, but in law school, I did a double homicide trial as what they call it, Rule 32. So you can be a student and still practice the law under a supervising attorney. And at the time, I was just an extern at the legal office of legal defenders here. And it was a death penalty case. Well, that summer they dropped the death penalty, and the attorney was like, well, do you want to do it with me? Oh, and it was basically can't go wrong type of thing. Yeah. And it was funny because the prosecutor like went up in fits and was like, we can't tell the jury she's a law student because then they're going to go easy. And like, he just went off on it all. Oh, wow. But it was one of the most incredible experiences. She let me argue some of the more, I think we had like 9 or 11 substantive motions. So motions in limine to limit evidence coming in, things of that nature. There were 2 arguments in particular that were kind of the biggest for the case. And I argued it so well, the judge took it under advisement, and we ended up losing it. But he had to consider the arguments that I was making. And it was so funny because it was one that would change the whole trajectory of the case. And the state, you could just tell how like peeved he was. And me and the attorney was like, oh, this is going to be good. That's awesome. That's awesome. Have you been in a situation as a public defender where it's like,
and I don't know if I can even ask this, I may not be able to, where you kind of know the person is probably guilty, but you have to defend them anyways?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what's funny about that is so many of my clients, I would go in and they're like, you haven't asked me if I'm guilty. And I'll look up and I'm like, there's video camera and there's a confession. Do you want to talk about you not be like, do you have a claim of innocence? No. And I'm like, well, do you want to talk about the offense? No. Do you want to talk about why? No. Then I don't really care.
Yeah.
And I usually look at them like, this is what the plea deal is. And and I will say, I feel like I was very respected by my clients. A lot of my female colleagues, got hit on by their clients, all these things. I never had that. My clients would come in, they had more respect than like, I would say, like, I just went in and just started talking to them by their first name.
Yeah.
I never said their last name. I never really introduced myself. Maury did, but I said my first name.
Yeah.
And they would always like want to call me Miss Babe. And I'm like, no. And they're like, so they'd call me Miss Korey. And so they always had that. And I think it's because of the way I showed up for them. There was times where I'd walk in and I'm like, I'm getting a dismissal. Like, I mean, I was like, I can't promise you I'm getting you a dismissal, but I'm asking for a dismissal. I don't really care what you want. Like, I'm going to ask for a dismissal first.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I did that and the client was just like, okay. And then we came back and I got the dismissal.
Oh, wow.
And you could just tell he couldn't believe, like, he's still probably waiting for the case to come back.
Yeah,
Like, are you sure?
And then, just been given a second chance. Don't screw it up.
Yeah. But then, like, even the clients that I knew were going to prison, I would say, like, look, based off of your record and based off the crime and the offense, you have to go to prison. This is their plea offer. What can you do? And that was my question I usually asked them. And I had clients that were like, I could probably do 3 years. Like, I can get you 3 years. And I'd get them 3 years. So I'd get them what they asked and what they could do. And I made it more realistic than what the state was asking for, things like that. And I was honest from the get-go. I would say, there's no way I'd get you probation, you know, or I could, but you're going to have to do some jail time. Because you kind of know once you're in it for a while of what you can and can't get.
Yeah.
And so I would just have those conversations. I know the hardest one for me, I walked in on day one and he goes, I want to take the plea. And I was like, no, like, this is a terrible plea. And I read I know enough to know that there's something here that we can at least get something lower, like at least half of what they're giving you. And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to let you sign it. Like, we can come back next week. And he goes, okay. So he came back the next week and he still wanted to take it. And my supervisor was like, you can't, there's nothing more you can do, like, that's the plea. And that one hurt for me because it was someone that gave up on themselves.
Yeah.
And that, I would say that one was the hardest one. But other than that, everyone else was, pretty reasonable. I probably had one that was just super unreasonable. And the whole time I was like, oh my gosh, I just want this to be done.
Yeah. That's funny. So you did that for a couple of years. What made you get out of it?
A lot of things. One, COVID had happened.
Okay.
And the state was saying, oh, we're only going to charge for violent offenses. Well, what happened was 2 things. One, they went back to all their old cases. So I got one case. It was close to the 7-year statute of limitations. It was like 6.5 years or something. This guy is now an adult. He's no longer 18 years old or 20, however old he was when he committed the offense. It wasn't a victim crime. There was no damage, no danger, anything like that. He has a family. He has a job. He got a degree, all these things. And they were like, felony. And I'm like, no. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why is this even here? And we went back and forth and fought it for months and they just were not budging. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This is not the point of COVID. And it's just like, you don't get the chance to go back to all your old cases and try them again.
Right.
And then, so that was one thing. The other thing, and the hardest for me was majority of my cases were drug offenses. So small amounts of methamphetamine, cocaine, things like that of the mentally ill.
Oh.
So their pleas were probation, but they couldn't enter the plea because they weren't mentally capable, but they wouldn't be released because they won't show up to court. So they would be sitting in jail for months to a year solely because they was essentially a mental health facility during COVID. And I just had too many cases like that. And it was heartbreaking to see. And I kind of looked around and I was like, the only way to really make a change and the change that I would want to is to be a legislator. And I don't want to be a legislator.
Yeah.
So I was like, the other interest had always been business law. And I said, I'm still young. And although my entire background is criminal defense, I think someone will give me a shot. And so I went off and I joined a general practice law firm first because I didn't think anyone would hire me in-house with just my litigation background. So I learned like family law, probate, estate planning, civil real estate, all of that from that general practice.
Okay. And then how long were you with the general practice?
Like 7 months.
Oh, not very long.
Nope. No, I learned a lot. I learned very fast
Yeah.
and I'm very efficient. And so I learned what I thought all I really needed to know, which was the basics of, the different areas, the basic knowledge that I would need. And then I applied for an air ambulance company and house counsel and I got it.
Okay.
And then I realized this is boring.
Yeah. Sit around waiting for something to happen.
Yeah. Well, that one was mostly insurance appeals.
Oh, gotcha.
And you don't need to be a lawyer to do an insurance appeal.
Yeah.
And so they had the attorneys doing that. And so it was nice. It was cool because I would read all the medical articles. I learned so much about anorexia, like all these medical conditions. And I would read like their full medical reports. I would be in tears. They were so sad, so many of them. But yeah, essentially I was just like this. And I would ask, I'm like, I need more. I need something to keep me here. And so they put me on their like marketing. I helped them with like the Department of Defense grants, things like that. And so they weren't giving me more opportunities. It just was still a little slow for me. And then I got the opportunity to go to Nikola Public Company. So.
Okay. And then, so now you went to Nikola. What'd you do there?
I was on their energy division.
Oh.
So helping to develop
land acquisition and stuff?
For the hydrogen stations.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So trying to find a solution for the trucks because no one would purchase the trucks without the solution. So doing that and a lot of the grant funding, reviewing for that, all of those sorts of things. That was fun.
That's interesting. Are they still around?
No, they went bankrupt.
I was going to say, I feel like not that's why you left them, but I'm like, it's like I'm thinking, are they still?
Oh, no, they laid me off. But they told me in the job interview, they said, you might get laid off. We might all get laid off. Yeah. They were very honest from the beginning. But for me, it was an opportunity to do something bigger and with a public company. And so I jumped on it.
Gotcha.
And again, I loved it. I still talk to a lot of people from there. A lot of them are my really great friends. So it was a great opportunity.
That's cool. That's really cool. And then from there, did you go into private practice or?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So after I got laid off, I sat around for a couple of months. I wanted to go back in-house. But the thing was, during that time, you don't hear about like attorneys being laid off. Google, Microsoft, all these massive companies were laying off attorneys left and right.
Is that because of COVID or was that
economy?
Oh.
So when the economy is not doing so well, when the economy is doing well, they beef up their attorneys,
get more money.
Yeah. And then as like things kind of slow down, they get rid of the attorneys.
Gotcha.
And so even whenever I went there, I thought Nikola had too many attorneys. There was like, I think 7 of us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a massive legal team for how small the company was, in my opinion. And so, yeah, I just could not. I don't even know how many jobs I applied to. I was thinking, am I going to have to move to California, Texas? I was applying essentially all over. Because when you're in-house counsel, you don't have for a company, you don't have to be licensed in that state. You can ask to be in-house counsel and pay the state bar to do your limited practice. And after a couple of months, I was like, I think I'm going to have to go to a firm. And I didn't want to go back to the law firm setting. I hated the law firm, the billable hours. I just don't like the way the industries ran, to be honest. And they all do it, right? And I thought, well, maybe business law is different. So I left, I joined a business firm, and then it lasted 4 months. And I was like, I'm going to do this myself. And so on a random Thursday, I said, I'm going to do this myself. I put in my notice. I was let go that day. By Monday, I was up and running. And some of my clients came over.
Nice.
And it's been a year and a half since.
Very, very cool. And you do mostly business law. Do you do anything outside of business law, or what's your main focus? Business law. Okay.
Yeah.
And then anything else or no?
If someone is a referral, and depending on what it is, I might take the case. So I've gone up since I've opened my firm against businesses, and I represented like the customer or the consumer. But it's really weird. It's also mostly when they've been taken advantage of. Those are the cases that I'll take. But for the most part, it's business law, contracts, things like that.
Gotcha. What do you enjoy the most about what you're doing right now?
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's never a day that's the same. It's always different. There's random things that come up. I get to be in all of the industries. So I'm not just, secluded to one little portion. I get to learn about air conditioning and IV hydration and construction and electrical and engineering and all these things that I've never been a part of. And so I'm always learning. I'm constantly learning. I'm helping clients left and right whenever they need something. And I think it's cool to know that I have the ability to help them. I have the knowledge base that's there. And so it's nice whenever someone can come to me. And even if I don't have the answer, they let me research it or figure it out for them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. What's next?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never,
You gonna do this for the next 40 years?
yeah, probably not. But I honestly don't know. It's funny because I always wanted to be a lawyer, right? So that was my goal for years.
Yeah.
And then I became a lawyer. And then the goals kind of stopped. I was just like, I don't know what I want to do. Owning a firm was never my intention. I was never that attorney that said, one day I'm going to own a firm. I never thought I would do that.
Yeah.
If you'd asked me, actually, my dad I probably gave him the most pushbacks. He's like, one day you're going to own your own firm. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then I did. He goes, I told you. But so I don't really know. I don't know if I want to expand it. It's difficult with the expansion because a lot of attorneys, again, I think the law students are raised a certain way and they have a certain mindset and it's hard to get them out of it.
Yeah.
So they're all about the billables, or all about themselves, and they're not really thinking about the client and the client's goals. And the only way I'll expand is if I can find attorneys like that. And it's really difficult to. So I don't know. Maybe one day I get a job opportunity someplace else. Maybe I open up my own business. I had no idea.
Yeah. Multiple partners, practice, big, huge law firm.
If I can find attorneys like me, if not, no.
Yeah. Do you have staff right now, or is it just you?
I have a paralegal.
Okay.
Yeah, she's part-time, but that's all I really need at this point.
Gotcha. With regards to business law, what are some of the things that you see most overlooked when people are either jumping into business or have been in business for a while? And
the main contracts that they use every day. Yeah. I think oftentimes people, especially when they've been in business for a long time, they're like, well, my contract has worked all this time, or I had an attorney review it once. And I'll say having an attorney review what you got from someone else or what AI did and having them draft it for your purpose is two very different things. And so I think that's something that's very, very often overlooked. I think too, oftentimes people are just relying on AI and they say, oh, like they're going to do a contract for me. And then when a dispute happens, they're like, well, it wasn't a valid contract, right? It's like, no, it's a contract. It just doesn't protect you.
yeah,
It doesn't have what it needs to have to help you. And so I think it's a lot of that. And a lot of people just thinking, oh, I can't afford that. Or they don't want to make an investment into hiring an attorney. And when it's your most important documents of your company, so a partnership agreement, I don't care if it's your spouse, your brother, who it is, you need a partnership agreement to just, what happens if a dispute arises? And then the other thing is just the main contract that any customer or client would have.
Yeah.
They rarely will have their own. Usually they take it from someone else. I don't know how many times people are like, oh yeah, this is what the contract says. And I read the contract and I'm like, that's not what your contract says.
Oh, yeah. I see a lot of, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if people are actually using attorneys or creating them themselves. Obviously in insurance, we deal with a lot of contracts, renters, that sort of thing, space leases and whatnot. But I see, and I feel like it's more in the large where we might be dealing with a municipality or some type of hospital or something like that, where I almost feel like legal counsel doesn't really know what they're doing. So they throw everything, including the bathwater, into the contract. And then the client signed it without anybody looking at it. And then they come to us and say, hey, we need a certificate. And oh, by the way, it says we need pollution liability and we need this and that and the other thing. And why does the school need my auto insurance? I don't even have a car. It's like those things where we just, it's like, man, don't sign the contract until you have somebody look at it. It's much easier to negotiate things out before it's been signed or understand what the cost is, right? Because I actually have a friend who called me recently. Let's see if I can dance around this subject a little bit. Called me recently asking about a parcel that they had rented a piece of for a piece of equipment. That's a good way to put it. And it was on a person's private property. And now the homeowner's insurance doesn't want to cover the home at the cost that it was. They're going to triple it. So now it's going to cost them basically what they're getting from the company to rent that little piece of their property anyways, the whole thing is like, and they called me and said, hey, is there something we can do? I said, well, I mean, you make an underwriter know about it beforehand.
Right.
There may be something that, a carrier's like, okay, well, if it has these stipulations, if there's something in there that, we can put into place to make sure that whatever it is, they may say, yeah, no problem. But also, there are a lot of carriers right now that are just looking for reasons to get off of risk because it is so expensive to insure things. That's what people don't see is like, yeah, your homeowner's policy might be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a year, but your house burns to the ground, it's worth $1 million. I mean, insurance companies paying it out. So anyways, my whole point, going back to the whole contract thing, we see that all the time where it's like people don't have contracts or I'll ask them, do you have an operating agreement? They're like, what's that? Like, let me tell you my friend's name.
Yeah. Well, with it,
Korey.
with that too, with like the attorneys and things like that and in-house counsel for hospitals, things of that nature. One thing I learned when I went in-house, so we often have this misconception as lawyers that, in-house counsel, it's a cushy job, but they're also supposed to be the best. I've learned that those are actually some of the worst because they won't admit that they don't know. I don't know how many I've talked to or learned from, and the number one thing I got from them is to admit that you don't know.
Yeah.
Look it up, do the research, get the knowledge. There are so many that are just like, I don't know, and then they just fake it. And then, like you said, the contracts don't match what's needed. And also going back to the insurance provisions, that's the number one thing I always tell my clients. I'm like, that's the only provision realistically that almost 100% of the time they'll negotiate is the insurance.
Right.
Tell them what your insurance is. Tell them what your job description is.
Right.
Because oftentimes, the in-house counsel, they just see, oh yeah, this is our contract.
Yeah.
But then you tell them your scope and like what little you're doing this one wire or you're cutting this one thing.
Or you work out of your house. You're never going to go on property.
Yes.
You do whatever it is from your computer. You don't need an auto policy.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it. You don't have any employees. You don't need a workers' comp policy. And you're not digging or moving some type of weird product. You don't need pollution.
Yep.
But once you sign it.
I had a company that they're like a subcontractor and they would just purchase the insurance that was needed. And they would have it for the time that was needed, all of that. And if they hired me, I was like, stop doing that.
Yeah.
And like, give them your insurance, your COI, show them what you have, tell them what you do. And that's the one you can negotiate. And ever since then, they're like, oh, this is fantastic. We're saving so much money.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, yeah, you're saving money. You don't need it.
You're saving money. You're not burning through insurance companies that are getting pissed because you're going, I need a $5 million umbrella today. Oh, take it off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's crazy. So, okay, well, I'm going to ask questions.
Okay.
I got 3 questions. I asked you 3 numbers.
Oh, yes.
We're going to jump to it.
I'm kind of nervous.
You should be. That's okay, though. You're a good attorney. You'll make something up.
That's true.
You're like a good insurance person. Your mouth thinks before your brain starts. Looking at it. So, hang on one second. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, never mind. I'm good. We'll just do some fancy editing. Okay, so first question. Who do you lead? Interesting. Okay, so you don't have a team. This is an interesting question, but it's one of the... Who do you lead for yourself, your team, or your community?
Who do I lead?
Yeah. Who do you lead for?
I would say my clients.
Okay. And we didn't really ask about this. This actually brings up a totally just off the top of my head came up with a subject. Nonprofits.
It's your podcast.
Yeah, it's my podcast. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the nonprofits you're involved in.
Yeah, Rebuilding Together Valley of the Sun. It's amazing. The one thing that sucks is government funding, got cut substantially. And this is a nonprofit that highly relied on government funding, grants, things of that nature.
Okay.
They also did not get a grant this year that they typically get. And so it's struggling a bit. So we are actually doing Ramp Wars in October. And so business owners can sign up, or companies can, and they donate $5,000 and they help to build a ramp. So you get to bring out your team, your community, whoever you want, your clients, customers, whoever wants to come and do good for the community, and you build a ramp for a homeowner. And as board members, we actually did one, and it was such an amazing experience. This woman, she was elderly and she got a little injured and she couldn't leave outside of her mobile home. There were steps and she needed a walker. So we went out there to build a ramp. And as we're out there, her neighbor comes out and her neighbor is just crying and she's thanking us. And she said, if you didn't do this, she'd go to a home and she'd die.
Oh my God.
And she was just so adamant about it. And so it was amazing just to see the impact right there. And so one thing that they do is they build ramps for all sorts of people in the community. You apply for it. There's financial concerns. Obviously, if you have the funds to do it, then we can't really do it for you. But also there's the accessibility inside the home. So building handrails, things like that in the bathrooms and around the home, that's something that they'll go out and do for you as well, free of charge. And then also just picking up around your community. So your yard, things like that. If you're not HOA compliant, changing things from rock, sand, all of that. So they do a lot of good. And so the ramp war is going back to that in October. So every company that signs up, again, you get to build a ramp whenever fits you and the homeowner schedule. And then in October, you get all the nonprofit. The winner, whoever raises the most money for the nonprofit by the end of October, gets crowned the ramp champ.
Oh, wow.
And we're actually working right now to hopefully get it announced on the news to provide more visibility of the business owners to get more owners involved in it.
Yeah.
And so if we can, there's going to be sort of an ongoing segment of who's in the lead, who has gotten the most money donated to the nonprofit, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there like a waiting list? I mean, is there a list of people that need ramps? So you kind of know, and you're like, okay, we're trying to raise X amount of dollars or funds. And then does each ramp have kind of a specific amount that you need to raise for the ramp? Or are they each kind of, I mean, obviously I could say, okay, well, it's, only has to go up 2 steps versus 5 steps. I mean, right?
They're actually usually pretty big ramps.
Okay.
So they're usually straight out. I'm terrible at dimension, so I have no idea. Maybe like 12 feet. It might be less than that. And then it wraps around usually. So it's a true straight out and then a ramp down sort of from their home. And there's different ones, obviously, if your house is smaller, those sorts of things and concerns, but it's not usually just down. It's usually pretty concrete. I know that we get donations in kind from Lowe's. Lowe's is a massive partner. They donate wood, all sorts of things. And so they've been a fantastic, company for us to help keep it going. So the $5,000 is an amount that we came up with based off of the need for the community, but also the overhead to keep the nonprofit moving and going.
Gotcha.
Because they have a facility where we store everything. And if we don't have enough material from Lowe's or some of our other partners, we'll have to purchase it. So essentially it's kind of creating a cushion so that way we can keep things going.
Okay.
But we do have a waiting list. I think right now we have 8, but we're trying to get the full 20. And I know we're going to because we're trying to get 20 business owners.
Wow.
And so we're trying to help out 20 homeowners. And we know it's out there. And I think we've already gotten 4 more applications in.
Very cool.
And so it's about reaching out to the community. We're actually trying to find 2 veterans that are in need.
Okay.
So oftentimes as well, like amputees, they'll need these services. And so we'll go out there to build it for them as well. So that way they don't have to, it costs a lot of money. And again, the government doesn't really have the money even for the veterans of the community.
Yeah.
And so the nonprofit will go and help with that as well.
Gotcha. Very cool. That's awesome. We should see if we can get something together with APN. See if APN could support at least one.
Yeah. I was
cool.
thinking that too. Maybe the cabinet or something like that can do one. I know we posted about it in APN for everyone to do. I'll probably make another post.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wait to see if we can get things settled with the news channel, because if we can get it on an online database or, get that business visibility for them, it'll help.
Is the nonprofit just in the Valley, or is it the entire state, or?
It's mostly in the Valley.
Okay.
So we need the volunteers, and all the volunteers are local.
Okay.
And typically, I feel like the need usually is in the East Valley. We get some applications in Glendale, but there's not many. Usually they're all in this area. or Apache Junction.
Okay.
There's a lot in Apache Junction.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Next question. Let me get my glasses because I can't see. You've got 60 seconds to inspire a room. What's your message?
Oh, goodness.
That's the one everybody chooses.
That's the one everyone chooses?
That is the one everybody chooses.
You did that on purpose. I feel like it depends on the room and what I'm trying to inspire them with.
Okay. You're in an assembly of seniors in high school. You got 60 seconds to inspire those kids. What do you say?
Forget about everything you learned. Don't care about anything that anyone says. Find who you are. Stay true to it. If someone wants to talk bad about you, leave the room. they're not for you. You don't need to sit there and push yourself and try to fit the mold of the rest of the world. You are the world. You're gonna find it. Go out, find your people, find what's going to make your heart stir and do better. I think that's the number one thing that a lot of people miss. And I honestly see it with my friends too. They try so hard to fit in, and why? For what purpose?
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that I love about my dad of teaching me is just to be who you are. I cuss. I've done it with clients so often. I think I've done it in the court a couple of times. No one's really called me on it, which has been nice. But
Korey Bahme gets incarcerated for
cussing in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's true, and it's just, I couldn't imagine sitting there and just trying to be who everyone else wants. That'd just be exhausting.
Yeah.
I like the fact that I show up and I am who I am.
Yeah.
And you either choose to be in the same room as me or you don't. And either way, it's okay. And I think as business owners too, that's something that a lot of us need to learn is not everyone needs to be your client.
Yeah.
They might be a bad client because you're trying to push yourself onto them or you're trying to fit what they need. Let them go out and find it from someone else that can easily fit that mold for them.
Yeah. I love that. And I agree with you 110,000%. Like, I remember starting in the insurance industry 30 years ago, which is insane.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Makes me sick. But I was in claims. I was in the Seattle area, and we had to wear a white shirt and a dark tie.
Oh.
And I was an auto adjuster, and I had to go to body shops, and I had to go to salvage yards, and I'm in a white shirt and a dark tie. And I'm like,
You looked great.
yeah. I fell in a stupid puddle. It's a whole nother story. But that's why, now, I either have a button down, untucked shirt. Obviously I've got jackets and stuff I can wear, but t-shirts and jeans and those types of things. It's like, cause not egotistical. I know I'm good at what I do. And obviously I want and need clients. We all do. But if somebody's got a problem with who I am, I'm kind of at that point where it's not that I don't care. It's that that's your problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry if I offend you by saying something that I shouldn't say, because I do that all the time, but I'm who I am. At least I'm authentic. So I love that answer. So good on you. Last question. You ready?
I don't
It's a
know.
tough one.
Another tough one. Can I skip? Phone a friend?
No. What's your secret weapon as a leader?
I would say my honesty. That's my secret weapon. I get that a lot from my clients and even my colleagues. The fact that I'm just, again, showing up who I am and I'm honest about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sugarcoat something. I'm going to say it as it is. And it's funny because a lot of my friends or some people will be turned off by something that I've said because I'm just very blunt about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends are like, well, it's kind of just who you are. But I feel like too, a lot of people respect me for that.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's needed to, again, sugarcoat. If someone's not doing a good job, tell them. You're not helping them by not speaking up. I don't know how many times I've been in a position and then I look back and I'm like, I really wish my supervisors would have said something.
Yeah.
I wish they would have stood up and said, hey, Korey, you could have done that better. Here's how we can do this.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a difference with constructive criticism and
Right.
just criticizing.
And how you package it.
100%.
Mhm.
But I think that's the thing also. And I know that my clients really enjoy it too, because sometimes they'll come to me and like, look, you don't have a claim.
Yeah.
Or you do, but it's different than what you think it is. And here's why.
Yeah.
And oftentimes they're like, thank you for explaining it to me. Because oftentimes people just don't take the time to explain, right? They just say, oh, I'll do what you want and I'll take your money. And even in our relationships, our friendships, things like that, people just turn and they're like, oh, I'll fit your mold. And then you get upset about how someone did or did not react or whatever it is. And it's
Yeah.
like, if you just showed up and you were honest, then things would be better.
Right.
And I feel like
Well,
my
you-
paralegal likes that too.
Yeah. And you don't have to remember the dishonesty.
Yeah, the lie.
Right. I remember the first time we sat down and had a conversation with regards to what you do and what I do and how it could potentially meld together. I just remember thinking, you are the incarnate of Harvey Specter in a female form. From Suits, anybody who watched Suits, Harvey Specter.
My number one compliment from a client, he wanted me to argue for something. And I don't usually let my clients bully me into arguing something, but it's kind of a fun argument. So I was like, fine, I'll do it. So I did it. We win. I did not think we'd win the argument at all. He is obviously thinking he's like the most intelligent man in the world because he just won. I told him I didn't tell him it wasn't possible. I just said it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
And then I was also really happy that he pushed me, right? He pushed me to that limit. But then he looked at me and he goes, "You're my Harvey." And he just walks away and I never saw him again. That was like the last thing.
That is so cool. Yeah, no, I mean, I could just tell by the conversation and some of the things that we were talking about. I mean, you have that, I'll call it a no bullshit factor, where it's like, I'm going to tell you like I see it and like it or leave it type of thing, which is awesome. I think, more people need to be that way. I probably need to be more that way myself because I coddle. But
good thing my dad never coddled me.
Yeah, right. You're like, this is tough love. Deal with it. Well, shoot. Well, I've had a good time getting to know you a little bit better. Anything that I haven't asked that you thought maybe I would ask you about that I should ask that we need to know about Korey Bahme?
No, I don't think so. I had no expectations coming into this.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad. And we lived up to your expectations. That's awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, hey, everybody who comes on gets a gift. You're included in that. So I've got a gift for you.
Rocks Ink calligraphy.
Yes.
I know her.
From Rocks Ink. Well, yeah. But Rocks Ink does an amazing job. She engraves those for us so you get your own glass.
I love it.
And then it's got your name engraved on the back of it with the year that you were on.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yep. Now you can have orange juice or whatever it is that you drink in a high
Not what I'm drinking on this other one.
So
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And if you guys like this episode and want to hear more, please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll look forward to having you listen to us on the next episode.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
This is Korey Bahme, and I went above and beyond.
We truly thrive.